Another year, another Christmas list, and today we're diving into my Filmmaker Christmas list for 2017. But before we do that, if you are looking to gift another filmmaker, tell someone to gift you, or to fill your own digital stocking with gift cards if you wanted to, we have our yearly Christmas sale going on right now. Large discounts on everything as usual, including our newest packs, so head over to tryandstore.com for more on that. But now jumping right into my list, starting with pre-production goodies, and the obvious place to start here is with writing, not with actual writing of the script, but planning it with Storyclock Notebook from Plot Devices. This was originally a Kickstarter thing, which I backed, and I've been using it like crazy ever since. It's a perfect thing to help you develop your ideas. Another thing I've been loving is Writer Emergency from John August. You pick cards either based on an issue you may be having or just randomly, then flip the card over and get some suggestions. It's a great way to challenge yourself and keep thinking differently during the whole process. Moving on to actual writing, we have my two favorite apps for it, which are the same as last year, FadeIn and Slugline, way cheaper than Final Draft while still having everything you need. Then for storyboarding, if you're a fan of putting pen or pencil to paper, Plot Devices just released their new Storyboard notebook. It's a really solid way to storyboard your ideas quickly wherever you're at. Then we have my personal favorite, but a lot more expensive, and that's FrameForge. With this, you can create the space that you'll be shooting in and discover shots before you even get on set. When working with a very small budget with very little time, and similar to a project we have coming next year, a lot of practical and visual effects, it's great to really be able to dial in your ideas before you start bleeding money on set. Moving on to production with my favorite app for shot listing, which is ShotLister. This is now compatible with iOS, Android, and Mac. There's no competition out there in my opinion, especially for one-man band style filmmaking. This app is an absolute must. Then we have a few pieces of gear that are constant lifesavers on set, like flags, Apple boxes, solid C-stand. You can find most of these on eBay or Amazon for good prices, and we put a few links for that in the notes below for you. Then on to cameras. On the low budget end, you have the Panasonic G7 for around $600. It's a 4K camera with solid image and very capable stills, so you're getting a lot from relatively little. Then moving up in price to the GH5, which I did a full review on, and I put a link for that in the notes below, so I won't go into all the reasons I love this camera, but it is incredibly solid for the price, and I personally still prefer the A7s II for $400 more. I think you're getting more camera, especially for low light, but regardless of which way you go there, I think you'll be happy. And finally, for motion cameras, we have the Blackmagic Ursa Mini. In my opinion, it's the best camera that you can get for under $10,000. I was incredibly impressed with this camera when we reviewed it last year, which again, you could find that in the notes. Then the last of the cameras is a stills camera. It does take really solid video, but if you get this, you're really getting it for the stills side, and that is the Fujifilm X100f. I've been looking for a stills camera for production for a really long time now, and I couldn't be happier with this choice. It's easily my favorite camera for stills that I've ever used, so if you want to see some examples on that, check out the production shots on my Instagram. Then on to monitors. The two I've been a big fan of recently would be the SmallHD Focus and the SmallHD 1703. Huge price difference there, with the Focus being a 5-inch $500 monitor, then the 1703 being a 17-inch monitor for $3,600. But they're also very different things. The Focus is perfect for throwing on a DSLR or similar camera for better monitoring, or as a focus monitor, and the 1703 is a perfect production monitor to set up a small video village with. I've used it on my last few films and I've been in love. But I will say my overall favorite would be the SmallHD 702. This is usually my director monitor on shoots, and if you've noticed, all of these recommendations are SmallHD, and that's because they are the best brand of monitors all around in my opinion. Moving on again to camera stabilizers. On the tripod side, we have the Benro BV10, the Benro Hi-Hat, and their Monopod. I used to be a Manfrotto user, but after a while, all of those started giving out on me, couldn't hold the weight anymore. I personally found Benro to be a lot more solid. Then moving on again and adding motion into the mix, we have the Kessler Shuttle Dolly. This was all over Ghost House. We have a full review on it too, so check the notes for that, but it has easily become my favorite way to get dolly type shots. For more mobile movement, we have the DJI Ronin. If you are on a lighter camera like a DSLR, you can go with the Ronin-M and save some money. Still pricey at $900, but not as pricey as the full size. Then also from DJI, we have the Osmo Mobile gimbal system for your smart device, and it works great. We again did a review on this one. Yes, link in the notes. But the other great thing about this is that later on you can upgrade to the Osmo camera if you want and just stick that right on this handle. So it's a buying over time sort of thing. Then moving on to lighting with the Aputure 300D, which is one of my favorite lights right now, especially when you throw on the dome, you get a beautiful diffused light, and it's very powerful, can combat the sun as we've shown in an older episode. Then you have the 120D and T and the panels. Pretty much anything from Aputure is a big win, especially because they are one of the most lower cost, high quality lights you can get. Then we have Westcott lights with the Flex Light and the Ice Light, another two of my favorite lights, which we've done episodes on all of that before, so again, check the notes below. And finally, for sound, we have the Sound Devices Mix Pre 3 recorder. This is a professional level recorder with those Sound Devices preamps for $650. It's a chunk of cash, but not for the quality. Then we have my favorite mic for the last several years, and that's a Rode NT-G3. It's my go-to mic on every production. It goes for $700, but it stands up to mics at double the cost. Sticking with mics, we have the new Vid Mic Pro. This one is leaps and bounds better than any that came before it, and another one I did a review of, yes, in the notes. Something I haven't tried out yet but looks great is the Rode AI1. This is an audio interface so you can connect solid monitors to your computer and mics. I currently have the Scarlett 2i2, but it's given me some problems lately, so I'm definitely going to be switching to this soon. Then staying in production, but with hard drives, we have the Western Digital My Passport Wireless. What's great about this is you don't even need a computer to back up your footage in the field. You grab an SD card, pop it right in, and the drive starts to capture it immediately. Then you can connect through mobile device to make sure that everything is copying over correctly, or even playback shots. It's not limited to SD cards though, you can connect whatever you need to through USB. I've used this the most when working with drone footage or when we're traveling. Again, if you're a one-man band type filmmaker, this thing is killer. So that's pre-pro and production. Now a quick break and then we jump into post. If you're a budding filmmaker, entrepreneur, innovator, domain.com is the place to go when that next idea hits you. When you get a domain name from domain.com, you're taking the first steps in creating an identity and vision for your brand or idea. Plus, the world's top 2 premier and most recognized domain name extensions are .com and .net, which means those are the ones that are going to help you build your brand and expand your presence online the best. And of course, by using the coupon code FilmRiot at checkout, you get 25% off your order when you get domain names, web hosting, and email. So when you think domain names, think domain.com.
This just feels lazy.
What do you mean?
All you did was put a coat on.
No, I got a
You're
belt.
missing the hat, the hair, the beard.
Well, it's like I'm not the actual Santa Claus. I'm not helping.
Yeah, but it just feels lackluster.
Blockbuster.
Logo.
Jumping back in with post-production, first on the list is HitFilm Goodies. We showed off what their software was capable of in a recent episode. They recreated the Halo jump from Godzilla all in HitFilm, and it was insanely impressive. Their software has evolved over time to go from something that was good for beginners to a serious contender in the professional space. The best part about it is it's crazy cheap compared to everything like it, and it isn't subscription-based. You buy it and you have it. They also have their new Action Pro software. I haven't used this one yet, but it looks really exciting. This is something that I've wanted for a while, so it's nice to see them innovating in this way. After that, we have the suite that I use, which is Adobe CC. This is subscription-based, but if you're like me and spend the money to upgrade every time anyway, this ends up making a lot more sense. I don't need to go into details here because you all know I'm a huge Adobe fan and user. Next on the list is Red Giant Goodies like the Trapcode suite, which just got an amazing update. The builders that they're putting in with their suites are downright genius and makes getting the look you want with each plugin so much easier. There's also Magic Bullet Suite for grading, Keying Suite, but the one that I get the most out of is Universe. This is a collection of plugins and something that you subscribe to for $100 a year. What's great about this is they're constantly updating and upgrading, definitely a must-have on the plugin side. After that, we have Video Copilot Magic. Pretty much anything from Video Copilot is something that you definitely need. Optical flares and Element 3D still find their way into almost everything I do. And Element 3D has become something pretty incredible. It's amazing the level of visual effects you can pull off with that. Another must-have is the Motion Pulse Pack. It's a huge library of amazing sound design elements, another one that I use pretty regularly. Then on the music and overall sound side of things, my 2 go-to apps are Cubase for composing music and Ableton Live for sound design, and then of course Audition, which is a part of Adobe CC for mixing and mastering. So if I'm making something like Blockbuster Music Pack, I'm in Cubase to compose the music, but if I'm working on something like Hits and Risers V2, I'm in Ableton Live. So depending on what you do more, one of those will be great for you. On the plugin side, Valhalla Room is an excellent lower cost reverb plugin. Then from FabFilter, I have Pro Q2, which is my favorite equalizer, and Pro MB, which is an excellent multi-band compressor. And finally, RX6 from Isotope. This one comes with a bunch of plugins for fixing your audio, including the best denoiser I've ever used. Moving on to asset goodies, Rampant Design is continually some of the best out there from editing and graphics standpoint. They have great mats and templates, but then they have their VFX assets, which we've shown a ton of. Basically, just go to Rampant Design and search around. They have a ridiculous amount of goodies. On the sound asset side, of course, we have our Triune Sound assets, but outside of that, Boom Library is one of the best out there. Their packs are excellent, and I just use their sci-fi sounds a ton on a coming project. After that, we have Frame.io. This one's for collaborating during post. Definitely the best way to get and give notes during post-production, and there's an excellent Premiere extension for it to make it even easier. This is another one that I've done a review on, so Look at the notes. But that's it for post. For our last bit of goodies, we're looking at educational goods, and for that, it's the same thing that I've been preaching. That's MZ, which now has a subscription model that is really solid, and Masterclass, which also just started a subscription option. So for $180, you get access to all their classes for a year, and considering just one class is somewhere around 90 bucks, that's pretty amazing. And it's made more amazing by the fact that Ron Howard and Martin Scorsese classes are coming. I have no idea how they're getting the caliber of people that they are, but I'm glad they are.
Logo.
And that's it, my list of favorites for 2017. Of course, all the links for that are below. And of course, we also have our own Filmmaker goodies that we sell on our store as well, like music packs, sound effects packs, VFX assets, color grading packs, and some educational courses like Writing 101 and 201. And like I mentioned in the beginning, we do have a big sale going on right now, so check that out at tryandstore.com to learn more, and I'll see you next week when the lizard grows up to be a cat-eating monster.